Social psychology. How do the people around you shape you? Question. How much of your behavior is truly you, and how much of it is influenced by the people around you? Social psychology gives the answer to this question. Social psychology is the science that studies how people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by other people. This influence can be from people who are really there, just imagined, or whose presence we just expect. It doesn't study the individual alone. Instead, it researches how a person behaves in a social context, like in a family, with friends, at work, or in society. The main idea is this: we act differently when we are with other people than when we are alone. Why do we sometimes lose ourselves in a big crowd and start acting as one group? The science that knows you better than you do. Question 1. Why do we sometimes lose ourselves in a big crowd and do things we would never normally do? Question 2. Why do we want to buy a product more when a famous person advertises it? Question 3. Why do even very smart people sometimes make foolish decisions when they are in a group? The answers are hidden in the world of social psychology. Let's explore these questions one by one. This phenomenon is studied in group behavior. When we are in a group, our individual actions change. One of the most interesting examples is the bystander effect. Imagine there is a person on the street who needs help. If you are alone there, you are more likely to help. But if you are in a crowd of 50 people, the chance that you will help drops sharply. This is because the responsibility is spread out among everyone. Each person thinks, let someone else help. Another important idea is conformity. This means changing your thoughts or behavior to match the groups because of social pressure. In a famous experiment by psychologist Solomon Asch, people were asked a simple question. Even though they knew the correct answer, they gave the wrong answer because the rest of the group did. They did this because they wanted to agree with everyone and not stand out as different. Another thing that happens in groups is social loafing. This is when people in a group put in less effort than they would if they were working alone. They don't try as hard because they feel less personal responsibility for the result. De-individuation. Why do we lose our identity in a crowd? What is it? De-individuation is a psychological state where we lose our personal identity and sense of responsibility when we are part of a large group. Being part of the group feels more comfortable than being an individual. Example: after a football match, a crowd of fans might get excited and break the rules. However, most of these people would never do such a thing if they were alone. Why? Anonymity. In a crowd, you feel like just a number. No one sees you as an individual. This creates a kind of invisibility cloak that makes it easier to break rules. Diffusion of responsibility. You think, if a group of 100 people does something bad, how much can I alone be blamed? Because the responsibility is spread among everyone, no one feels fully accountable. The result: a group can sometimes make a person braver, but sometimes also more reckless. This is not an excuse for bad behavior, but simply a truth about how our minds work. Social proof. Why do we do what everyone else is doing? What is it? Social proof is a very simple principle. In uncertain situations, we look at how other people, especially people like us, are behaving to decide our own behavior. We think, if many people are doing something, then it must be correct and safe. Example: advertising. When a famous person advertises a product, our brain concludes, this famous person uses it and thousands of people like it, so it must be a good product. Daily life. This is why we choose to wait in a long line at a restaurant instead of going into a small empty one. We think, if there's a line, the food must be good. The result, marketers, politicians, and social media platforms know this principle very well. They use it to predict and influence our behavior. Groupthink, the stupid decisions smart people make. What is it? Groupthink happens in very strong, close-knit groups. The desire to keep the group's harmony and agreement becomes so powerful that we lose our ability to see the real truth and consider different ideas. The result, wrong decisions are made, but no one dares to criticize them. Example from history, the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. NASA's engineers and managers ignored known problems with parts of the spacecraft and approved the launch. Why? Pressure to conform. When everyone is saying yes, it is very difficult to say no. Belief in being perfect. The group started to believe it was incredibly powerful and could not make a mistake. Ignoring the opposition, people with different opinions were not taken seriously. The result, this psychological phenomenon shows us that even the smartest people can make terrible mistakes. It proves how important it is to have different voices in a group to prevent wrong decisions.